Okay, this is an extremely late responsibility to Resident Evil Abyss about the Resident Evil 5 as racist. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're absolutely right. Calling that game racist is really stupid, especially since you haven't played the game yet. However, I do have something to add to that. The T-virus. The virus in the game that made the zombies and the nemesis and all of that fun stuff is derived from something called the mother virus. Now, the mother virus was discovered in an oversized queen ant. Well, about that big of an ant. That's probably just the ass size. That's pretty scary. However, this ant was discovered in Africa in either the 40s or the 60s. I don't remember which. But in the games, that's where it was discovered. Later on, they injected the mother virus, or the progenitor virus, whichever it's called, into a young test subject named Lisa Trevor. This is where they derived the T-virus, and therefore that's where they derived the rest of the viruses in the game, with the exception of Las Plagas. Now, it makes perfect sense that a Resident Evil game would eventually show up in Africa then, because that is where the virus essentially came from. Also, Chris Redfield being the lead character in it also makes sense, because not only was he the lead male character in the original game, that is the first one before Resident Evil 0 came out, but his last game was Resident Evil Code Veronica. Code Veronica is the game that revealed that the virus came from the ant they found in Africa, which is also, coincidentally, why Alexia's favorite relatives are her ants. Anyways, this is why the game makes sense. This is why it's in Africa. And the fact that Chris is there makes a lot more sense. And on top of that, that character's been seen in 2 games, not counting the mini-game from Resident Evil 2 that he was featured in for like a second. Unless you sucked, then you played a lot longer, and it took a lot longer. But the point is, it makes sense that that character is in it, and it also makes sense that Resident Evil would have a game take place in Africa. Now, in the off chance that anybody from Capcom watches this crap, don't change your game. Don't do it just because people are going, oh my god. If you have to change anything just so that you don't piss people off, it's simple. Make it take place in Northern Africa. Make it take place in Northern Africa and throw in a couple of white zombies, because the population up there is mixed. Then maybe a few people will stop calling you racist and all that shit. But anyways, don't change it. It makes sense within the storyline of the games. In the context of everything, it works. Unless you find out the game sucks and it doesn't make sense, don't change it. And please, people, stop calling the game racist. You haven't even played it yet.